Less than a week before my husband's check-in date, I was hospitalized due to a reoccurring liver mass. I needed surgery. With everything going on, there wasn't anything we could do. Everything was out of our control. It felt like the weight of the world was on our shoulders. All we could do was wait, pray, hope, and continue to move forward.
While my wife was in the hospital awaiting surgeries, I had an upcoming checked in, so I decided to go in earlier just because of all the stresses going on and everything else. And I'm hoping that if I checked in and just kind of get that out the way, not knowing if they're going to detain me or not. So, but I just want to get one thing off the table so that I could go. Hopefully they let me go and be with my wife, and that was my thought process. So, I wasn't thinking clearly, so I went to ICE and just pretty much, hey, I got to check in next week, but I want to come in earlier, so is that okay? And they pretty much like, and they kind of explained my situation to them too, like what's going on at home, and then that I've been in contact with the Thai embassies and trying to get my emergency travel document and self-deport and everything else. So the ICE officer's like, if that's what you're trying to do, then we'll come back next month, so we'll sign you off for another month and come back next month. We're with a plane ticket, once when you get emergency travel document and everything else, which we'll book your plane ticket and then come back and show us, and then we'll be able to process for going forward with self-deportations and everything. So with that, they actually, I was relieved that they didn't detain me, but at the same time there was a whole new stress as my wife is in the hospital waiting surgery for her liver. So, I spent some time when I was able to go and be by her side. And then finally the Thai embassy reached out. After months about working with them, reached out, said, hey, you're approved and you can come down to LA to get your emergency travel document. And so, of course, I live in Washington, and for me to get to LA by this time, of course, is the Real ID Act that had come into effect, so I can't fly domestically. So what happens is that I have to drive down to LA to go do the whole process. Good morning. Getting ready to make this long trip down to LA to get my emergency travel document after months of applying, finally come through. So today's the day. Me and my mom's are heading out, so it's 6 in the morning. We'll be in LA in a few hours, 18 hours. So. Oregon, so still not a long way to go. After an 18-hour long drive, brutal drive, we made it down to LA and finally made it to the embassy and made our appointment. Of course, I can't shoot any video inside a government office building, so basically I made it in, made my appointment, met with the guys who I've been in contact with for the last 6 months, just between email and phone call, and they finally approving. So met with the guys upstairs, they did some more interview, and then they did a whole bunch of fingerprints and retinal scans and everything else. Then after all that's done, I finally got the things that I went for. Got it. My emergency travel document, right? It's just plain piece of paper. I thought it would be something solid. I thought it would be something heavy, but it was just some, plain piece of paper. But this is the most important piece of paper in my life, right? I had to guard it with my life because this is what I got. This is what I've been fighting for, and they finally gave it to me. And so, just kind of show you a little bit inside. Of course, I'm gonna block this, just show you my pictures. Again, it's official, watermark and everything else. So I got those. And then after I get the document, it was a big relief after that. So, while I'm in California working my way back, what better things to do than stop at some of my favorite places, that I know I won't be able to stop again, because this is pretty much my last trip. when I got back from LA, I pretty much booked my airline ticket to Thailand. And so the good thing was that my family was already planning to go to Thailand, so I had booked my ticket kind of like, same date with my family as they're traveling to Thailand. But so once when I got my ticket booked and everything else, I went back to ICE and pretty much showed them my travel document, showed them my airline ticket and everything else, and those are the date I'm leaving. So they said, okay, cool. Now that you're leaving, we just gotta check the flight manifesto on the date that you leave according to the information you give us, and after that, we'll pretty much like close your record out. So when I went in there, they pretty much served me a paper saying that I'm banned from the state for life because of that, because of my crime and everything else, and my self-deportations. So I'm pretty much banned for life, right? Not being able to come back to the United States again. And another thing was that what's saddening for me was that when I was sitting there doing my report, there was a family that came in also. Like when you go into report, they, for those who have been checked in, they know, right? You go up there with a group of people, they take you a group of whatever, like 10, 15 people up there. And there's a family of 3 individuals that's from Mexico that went up there with me. And then so they, we went into the window, give them our paperwork and kind of shared, give them our ICE check-in paperwork and hand it to the officer, and they all took it in. And then they call individually people to either, hey, come back in 3 months or whatever, or they call you back for interview. And when they call someone back for interview, usually it's not a big, usually it's not a good sign, right? So I was sitting there, and then I seen this family again that went up with me, looked like a young couple, a dad and a mom and a daughter probably like, I want to say she's about 4. And so, was all sitting in that room, and then they call people name and, oh, come back 30 days, so forth, so forth. Or they call someone back there for an interview. And then when they got to that couple turn, actually the husband was the one that checking in. So they called him to the back, and I could hear handcuffs. Before they called him, I could hear a group of, because I was sitting right by the door, so I could hear like a whole bunch of people talking in the back, like ICE officer, and I could hear handcuffs. So I was like, man, they're preparing for something. So they called this gentleman back to the back, and then they're like, we want to interview with you. So he's like, he don't really speak English, so they dialed a phone number for an interpreter for him. So they're sitting there doing the interview. And I seen that the wife was sitting across, and since I was sitting by the door, she's like, keep trying to lean in. So I asked her if she wanted to switch places, so she could hear what's going on. So she switched place with me, and she sat there, and with her little girl while they're talking to her dad. And in the midst of the conversation, I just seen her face went blank, and I seen this dark cloud, and my heart just dropped and sank at that moment. And I could see tears running down her eyes. I knew that they're taking them in. And she was just crying, like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, this is happening, to you and all that. And so it was a really sad moment, because I see the confusion in the little girl's eyes, and I thought of my son. Like, if you had to go through that, I don't know, that's so rough. And, and so the little girl was confused that, she didn't know what happened, but she see her mom's crying. All she could do was hug her mom and, like rubbing on her mom. That girl, for her age, she seems to be very wise to be able to, send comfort to her mom. And, and I could, express to her how sorry I was, and that I was, asked if I could pray for her, and then I prayed with her and everything else. And then, yeah, that was that. And then, so when it's my turn, I'm pretty much like what I said in the beginning, like, told them my whole situation, showed them all my document that I'm self-deporting. I got my travel document, got my plane ticket. So they pretty much said, okay, we'll check the flight manifesto once that day come, and we'll close you out. And then, but before I leave, they hand me a paper saying that I'm banned from the state for life. So after that, basically I left that building feeling sad for that family, but at the same time relieved that I didn't get detained, but that I had about 60 days to leave the country, because I booked my ticket out with my family. So now 6 days is for me to like finish trying to close out everything, as I explained about getting the house, getting my wife, everything else situated, the house situated, get my wife, ready to be able to take over whatever affair that need to be handled and everything else, and spend time with families and enjoy whatever I can and meet families and friends. I know that there's friends that I would never see again, because we all like, again, like, I know it's just life, it's a part of life, right? That people tell you that, hey, we'll see you, we'll come visit you, but I know they meant well, but life goes on, and there's people that I will see, I know that they will make it here, and there's people who won't make it, but at least I try to make an effort to say my goodbye and visit families and friends as much as I can. Evangelical church. I've been going there since 2008, and just prepping for this move. So I've been knowing what else I could do, right? Today's the day. It's been a long way today. We have been doing this for quite some time now. As far as me going back to Thailand, probably explain more later if you had a video, but yeah, going back was a big moment, a very sad moment, but I had my 5-year-old with me, and he was pretty upset, and he was crying, and it was really hard, but I know God have a better plan for us, so we just don't trust that, whatever happens, we'll trust in His provision and His guidance, and that we'll be united few months when everything else go through. So we're praying that God open the door so that we all could reunite in a few months. Now we're in Chiang Mai, all this luggage. I don't know how am I going to transport it, but we're going to try to transport it. All of them are mine, so. Yep, I'm in Chiang Mai now. So.